One evening I received a phone call from a man named Mike who had been dating a woman, Diane, for nearly a year. He had also been studying real love for several months and was fairly familiar with these principles. He said this: "Usually Diane and I talk on the phone for a while every evening, about the same time. But when she has friends over to her apartment, she can be pretty inconsiderate. She gets distracted. So I'll sit around the house for hours waiting for her to call. But she doesn't." So I said, "What you're missing is that she doesn't have to call you. You're irritated because you have a belief that somehow she has an obligation to do what you want. You believe that Diane has a responsibility to make you happy by giving you what you want all the time, by giving you attention and affection. As long as you believe that, you'll stay irritated at her most of the time, because she'll do things to disappoint you pretty often. You have to drop your expectations of her. How can you do that? First, recognize that you have no right to those expectations. The law of choice states that we all get to make our own choices, and you have to allow Diane to choose for herself what attention she gives you. As long as you make demands of her, she can never make you happy, because with your demands, you make it impossible to feel real love, which must be freely given and received." I continued talking to him. I said, "The second thing you can do to eliminate your expectations is to get real love from people other than Diane. You have to create a network of people you can call every day to get unconditional love from. Share your real love book with some people, with some friends, and find people willing to talk with you in a weekly group. Once you feel loved enough by other people, your need to demand love from Diane will decrease considerably." Mike said this to me: "Just tonight, Diane went out with a bunch of friends for dinner. And usually when she's coming home from something like that, she gives me a call. But tonight, she didn't. She told me she'd be home by like 10, and by midnight, I was really getting worried. I mean, she could have had a flat tire, or her car could have broken down, or she could have been involved in an accident or something. So finally, I called her cell phone, and it turns out that she'd been at one of her friends' homes all that time. How could she do that without telling me?" I had to chuckle. I said, "Mike, remember that my goal here is to help you be happy. And I'm telling you that as long as you're trying to control Diane in any way, you can't be happy. And you are trying to control her. You're insisting that she report to you and otherwise behave in certain ways to make you happy. And when she doesn't fill every demand, you feel like a victim. You cling to her and you get angry. And when you act like that, when you feel like that, you're loudly telling Diane that your primary concern is yourself, not her. And I promise you that she can feel that, and she doesn't like it. You have to accept her as she is and get more real love from other people, or you will choke your relationship to death." In our next session, we'll talk more about the conversation I had with Mike.